Okay, you guys, it is currently 7:06 a.m. I did wake up at midnight to see if it was downloaded. I stayed up till 12:30, and it still said I had pre-ordered it, but it wasn't released yet. So I was like, okay, I'll just wake up at 7, go from there. And it is 7, and it is downloaded on my Nook. So I am going to start it. There are 3 parts to this book. Shorter than I thought. I thought there's going to be like 400, so this is definitely doable. So it looks like each part a little over 100 pages each. So oh my god, I'm so excited. So here we are, part 1, the birthday. So funny story, actually, back in, gosh, it's been a couple of months now, I had pre-ordered this book at Barnes & Noble. So they were going to call me or email me, tell me the book's been released, your reservation is ready, you can come pick it up and buy it. And then I was like, but I want it like immediately. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have a Nook. So I pre-ordered it on my Nook, bought it. So my plan is just to go buy the physical copy later. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a 24-hour timer on my phone. And whenever I'm reading, I will start that timer. I think the plan is to finish this book. If I do, then I'll move on to Legendborn. And now read for the full 24 hours. I'm super excited. This is going to be so fun. It's going to be great. So funny how as I'm reading this, I'm still rooting for them, even though I know that they're gonna be in the Hunger Games. But I act like, oh no, he's gonna make it. He's not gonna get picked. Obviously he's gonna get picked, we know that, Jaden, but now we know how. He almost evaded it. That's actually crazy. So it is currently 9:22 a.m. and I am on chapter 6. That is page 71. So we are about 20% of the way. We're still in part 1, the birthday. There are 46 pages left in part 1. So I am about to wrap this up real quickly and move on to part 2. I think I'm going to take a little pause once I get to part 2 to get ready, do some things around the house, and then I will presume the readathon. And I feel very confident that we can finish this today because we are selling along, and honestly it is so easy to read this. Like, the chapters are flying by for me. I'm just enthralled in the story, and I think that's just Suzanne Collins' writing. All of her books have been consistent, and every time I eat them up. And while yes, they tend to follow kind of the same setup of this is their life, these are the people in their life, they go to the reaping, they get picked, they go to the cart, they meet other people. Somehow, even though it has that same setup, they're different. You just get so invested in these characters, and especially now that we have characters that we kind of recognize and we're putting all these names and people together and how they know each other, it just makes it even more interesting. I don't know. She just knows what she's doing. And I'm here for it. Hey Google, what time is it?
8:41 p.m.
So it is the same day. It is currently 8:42 p.m. So officially have read for a little over 12 hours. And while I was getting ready, I was even playing my audiobook of Legendborn so that I can still count my time. But if you consider that cheating, you know, I'm just doing my best that I can out here. But yes, we are here because the main reason I wanted to do this 24-hour readathon was because the Sunrise of the Reaping came out today, March 18th. So literally yesterday in the evening, I bought Sunrise on the Reaping pre-order on my Nook, and it's literally the second book I've ever read on my Nook. And that's actually crazy. I've had this for a while, and I just think I always forget I have this. And I'm also obsessed with hard copies that when I buy them, I'm like, oh, obviously I'm going to read the hard copy. But I'm also a crazy person, and I'll read it on here and still buy a hard copy. So, yeah. But yeah, sometimes I forget I have this, but genuinely, I think I read faster on Nook or mobile devices. I've read on my iPad before, I've read on my phone before, and I think I just generally read faster because I finished this book so quickly. Like, it gave me like an estimate of how long it would take me. I think it said like 14 hours. And I read it even faster than that. So I'm really proud of myself for doing that. But yeah, I started reading this, cozied up in my bed, and then I was like, okay, let's change scenery throughout the day. So I ended up going downstairs, and it was really cute. My brother's partner is also really into the Hunger Games series and all of that. And he was also excited to get this book and picked it up this morning. He came home, started reading, and then he met me downstairs, and I saw he had his book. I was like, okay, period. So he sat down, started reading with me as well. And he's a big brain. He can put things together and provide me clarity. So I was really happy that he was reading with me. And now I can talk through some of the things and see how everything interconnects. So that was really fun. But starting off with what I thought of the book. So I think I kind of already touched on it, that Suzanne Collins just has an equation for her books and uses that equation for each book. But somehow every book is still different enough that it keeps me engaged. But I also know the pattern, and so I also think I know what's going to occur, but then something happens that I didn't expect, and so that was very interesting. I don't know how she does it, but she does. I think going into this book, I wanted it to clarify a lot of things for me, especially since we just, learned about all the past connections with Lucy Gray Baird. We wanted to know, okay, well, how does she connect to Katniss? Because obviously it all interconnects somehow, but how? And I'm not going to go too deep into all that stuff because I want y'all to enjoy the book. And so I'm going to try to be as spoiler-free as possible and just give my honest review of the book. So technically there's 345 pages in total, but there's also an epilogue, which I did read. And then there's a introduction to the Hunger Games, the first book, and then it goes into acknowledgements and all that. But I stopped after the epilogue. But yeah, there are 3 parts to this book. Part 1 is the birthday, part 2, the rascal, part 3, the poster. This is my first time finishing a book in a day, and I think that just speaks to how good it was, because if I wasn't liking it, I would have been like, no, let me just go to Legendborn and maybe try this another day. But no, I was generally so excited for this book release. And this was my first kind of book release that I've ever just been truly involved in and excited for. So I think that's what also made this whole thing really special. So some touch points. All I'm going to say is remember what you've read and what you know. If you read all the other books, you will see some familiar characters, which is just really exciting. I really like how she describes them first and allows you to guess before she just says their name. I think that makes it really fun. You're like, wait, this sounds just like blah, blah, blah. And it turns out being that person. So that's really cool. And I really like how we see how Haymitch became to be the kind of person that he is, and why he wants to get involved in this rebellion with Katniss and everything. And we also get a little more lore into Snow and his ties to Haymitch and his family, and the ties between Lucy Gray Baird, and yeah, it's just so crazy. I'm not going to say anymore because I truly want you to read it and find out yourself. But yeah, I'm just going to leave it at that, because if I say anything else, it'll just give spoilers. But the arena was really cool and unique. I will say this book was kind of brutal in the game. The game makers really came up with some interesting mutts that they use, and also kind of talked more about the emphasis on the careers in the games and what the people think about them, what the other districts think about them, and how it alters kind of the dynamics of the districts within the game as well. So overall, I really enjoyed Sunrise on the Reaping, but for the rest of the remaining 24 hours, I still need to pack for vacation and I need to put some clothes away. So I'm going to play my audiobook, but as soon as I am done with my chores, I will pick Legendborn up. So yeah, that's my plan for the rest of this 24-hour readathon. It's been really fun and it really just showed me how much I love books. Hearing the stories that these authors create, it's so fun. It's a great way to just let the mind escape for a little bit from the real world and just enjoy some really good writing. So hopefully I will see y'all tomorrow in the morning once this readathon has ended. And yeah, we'll wrap it up for you guys. Y'all, it is currently 8:35 the next day. Full transparency, some point last night I dozed off. I was listening to my audiobook and I picked up my book and then audiobook because I knew I was starting to fall asleep, and as soon as I put the audiobook on for the second time, I was out. I think I made it to maybe about 3 or 4 a.m. maybe. Honestly, I'm guessing. I couldn't tell you what time I fell asleep. But we got to chapter 18 in Legendborn. There are 58 chapters, so we got a good amount. But I'm not going to say much about Legendborn in this video because I mainly did this for Hunger Games. I didn't know if I was going to finish in a day, so I gave myself a cushion. And I'll give more in-depth review of Legendborn in that video next week for our read and review. Also, I'm not a very aesthetic reader. I will read in comfy clothes and I will roll out of bed and read a book. So if you're here for the cutesy aesthetic book readers, that is not me. That is not me, will never be me. I look like this most of the time when I'm reading. So if you guys are feeling like a bunch of sweethearts, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. Also follow me on Instagram at Bladynn's Bitty Book Corner, and I will see you guys next week for our R&R. Bye guys.